cookies was just the first thing that came to mind?
Honestly, it was brownies for books.
Oh yeah, brownies for books.
Brownies for books. But then in the long term, I was like, but in like a year or two, I'm gonna need to pay for all of my college and everything. So I was like, let's just start with cookies for college, and I'm a sucker for a cookie, and so.
All right, guys. Well, we're back. I always say we're back, but now I really feel like we're back because we are back. Like, this episode. Well, before we get into any of that, I never say this, but my name is Sam, and today we are with Mrs. Madelynn Birdwell. Mrs. Madelynn Birdwell, also known as the Cookie Lady, right? And so thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be back.
Yeah, and you see, so she said, I'm super excited to be back. But like in the world of the podcast, she's never been here. But she has, though. And to talk about that, we got to get the elephant, in the room addressed. That's why you're also seeing my brother and Allie, Derek and Allie. This is their first time on camera, so you guys want to say hi?
That's true.
Do you want to say hi to the valley?
Yeah.
This is my brother. That's what he looks like. That's Allie. That's my wife. And again, this is our cookie lady. So I'm just gonna put this out there. Did I say that? Our cookie lady. Yeah, we gotta take pride.
Yes,
we gotta take pride.
956 Cookie Lady.
Woo. So what happened, guys, was last season we talked about, and everyone that was listening last season, like you guys know that we had put out that we were gonna release an episode with her, and we recorded it, but we also didn't because I didn't record the episode with Madelynn. I'm so sorry that happened. And she was so nice about it. It made me feel worse. Like, I was like, if she was mad, I would feel better. Cause like, you know what I mean? Like I would be able to go. Yeah. Like I would have been, that would have like the healthy phases of like remorse. Like I would have mourned it, but she was all nice about it. And I was like, oh man, that's even like Cookie Lady for her. Like,
and it was one of our favorite episodes.
Yeah,
too.
it really was.
I remember I sat down to edit it and I was like, where is it? I was like, where is it? Like, I couldn't find it.
And I was at the movies, and I was just like, oh, like he'll find it in a few seconds, but he didn't. And those few seconds turned into a few minutes, and I was like, dude, this is not like happening. And that was our season 1, so that your episode was like the 5th, maybe that we.
Yeah, it was pretty early on.
Yeah, that we recorded. And it was just like the worst feeling, like in my stomach was just, oh my gosh.
I would not want to send that message either and be like, so fun fact.
Yeah, I know. But that's why I'm telling you. But like when Madelynn was so like genuinely like okay with it, I was like, man, like this is like the worst person to do this to. I felt so horrible. And we were so again like it's been a long time coming. And like after that, we kind of went through some stuff. I know that Madelynn has put it on her social media that she went through like a break, right? So that kind of happened like pretty soon after like that episode that didn't happened. So like we weren't able to record another one for a while. So that's why we're all here. It's kind of like a shebang type deal.
We've been waiting for this since then. Like,
I know. Y'all have been so kind and persistent. Like, please come back. And I was like, I promise I will. And so now I'm here.
Yeah, we felt like we owed it to you. Like we owed it to you to give you this again.
But even besides the podcast, like we've just been wanting to see you in general. Like,
yeah,
we saw your stories and everything. We were like, oh man, we hope she's okay. And we're just patiently waiting for you to be okay in general. Like, as a human being.
Besides this.
Besides the cookies, besides the podcast, just like you know? Yeah. So it's good to see you again.
Yeah, we were wondering.
Yeah, it's crazy. I was like, I'll see y'all in 2 months. And January came around. I was like, psych, I'll see y'all in April.
Yeah. When you put your first story on the cookies Instagram account that you were gonna have one, like we immediately were like, it was on our calendar, like, okay, we're going to that one. I think it was Harlingen. Was it Harlingen? The very first.
It was. I was hoping to do Wild August as my first one, just because that's where I started. But Jackson Street's such a huge market, and they hadn't moved to Friday nights yet. And I was like, you know what, I want to start off with like a bang.
Yeah.
And so I did my first market there, and it went great and sold out, and it was super fun to be baking again. Yeah,
he had been wanting a cookie for like this whole time.
We had some regrets. We did the 4 for 10, thinking I would get 2 and he would get 2. We instantly had regrets.
We should have bought more.
Yeah, they wanted 8 for 20. Wait. You see, this is a problem. This is a problem because we're talking about like as if like, you know, the podcast world, the
yeah.
Valley
That's
already
true.
knows who we're talking.
yeah.
Because we talked about the fact that she's a cookie lady, but everyone's like, wait, what? Like,
Who's
what
the cookie
market?
lady? Yeah.
So guys, again, that's a product of the fact that in our world, we've already done this. So Madelynn Birdwell, right? Obviously, we and she calls herself the cookie lady, so it's not that we like gave her a nickname or playing with her. But anyway, so what is this whole cookie lady thing about? Like, what is it that you do, or what do you do in your markets?
Yeah. So I guess I'll just start from the beginning.
Rewind.
Yeah. Rewind. Yeah. After I graduated high school, I didn't want to go into debt for college, and wasn't even sure if college was an option, but knew I wanted to play basketball. Had been a goal of mine since I was in 4th grade. I was like, oh, I want to be a college basketball player and hopefully be a witness to my team one day. And then I guess it was 2019. We'll call it 2019. Those years were all a blur with COVID and everything else. And so I think it was 2019. And that spring, I was like, oh, let's just see if I can play basketball. And then I submitted my film to like this online scouting thing. And then literally within a week, we were on a road trip going to different colleges who were interested, made my decision. 2 weeks later, I took the ACT for the first time. 2 months later, I'm in school.
Oh my God.
So like with all of that going on during the summers when Cookies for College happened, because my parents were like, we'll get your first year or two, but after that, you're on your own. But I knew there was a lot of money because I have expensive taste. So I chose a private school in East Texas and not too cheap. And so I wanted to help out. And so my first goal was really just to pay for like my books, my living expenses, and then my dorm. And so I was like, let's just see what happens. Cookies for College is catchy. Called Miss Wilson at Wild August. And I was like, hey, so this is kind of my idea. Are you okay if I come set up? And she's like, yes, please come out, try it. And the rest is history. I got my little chalkboard, wrote Cookies for College. I still use a chalkboard today.
That's your thing now.
Yep, it's my thing. I was like, kind of fits the whole school theme.
Yeah, fits the vibe.
It's been upgraded from Hobby Lobby to like Velvet Magnolia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's been
climbing the ladder.
Climbing the ladder of chalkboards. But no, so it just started as that, and I went off to school, and I really enjoyed baking. I've always baked, and when I came back for breaks, I was like, well, might as well keep doing it, make a little bit more so I can keep paying for gas so I can come home or go see my boyfriend at the time. And each year it just kept growing. And so junior year, July will be 5 years I've been doing it.
5 years.
Yeah, just crazy.
And it literally started as like a necessity. Like you needed a solution.
Yes.
For like to pay for school.
Yeah, and I thought the name was catchy, and I liked to bake, and I was like, hey, this is a win-win. Let's see what happens.
Yeah,
and
that's cool.
Just super blessed, and it exploded. And so junior year, I realized like, hey, I want to keep doing this, but how can I maintain this name or keep kind of the mission? And so junior year is when I really decided I want to do this full time after I graduate, and offer scholarship to other college students through my business. So that way it's still Cookies for College. There's a purpose behind the purchase. And then I just love to give. And so it's a fun way of giving back to my community.
Yeah, and that's what Cookies for College is, because it started as like a little market project. And then what it is now, it exploded, like it escalated. And that's why we wanted to talk to you last season, because of where you had gotten, right? Mm-hmm. So like you were just doing these little markets to pay for your semesters, basically to get by, right? But I mean, like, did you foresee that? I know your business isn't like the whole like you probably had like a 5-year plan, like a whole business model. But like, was that part of the plan? Like, you wanted to do this full time? You wanted it to become like you said, like you're now like selling the model to like other college students. Was that always part of the idea?
No, and I'm gonna be real honest. This was Cookies for College. I was sitting at the island. I was like, let's just do this. I went to HEB. I went to Hobby Lobby. I got the stuff. Just used some recipes that
just
I had found online. Yeah, no. I was like, I just jumped in. Like, I just dived in. And I already knew how to bake. So I just, I think some of my first ones were like from Pioneer Woman, and I just tweaked it like my first year. And I was like, let's just go do this. And then it wasn't until the second year that I developed my own recipe, or second year until I had an Instagram account or anything else. Like, each year it's grown because I've been doing it in between school. And definitely no business model or business plan to really junior year. And that's because it was a school assignment. So I was like, might as well just use my own business. So
Oh, that's cool.
yeah. So if anything, I hope that's encouragement. Like if one of y'all are like wanting to start a business, sometimes a lot of people stress like the research or have a model, have the plan, have all the financing. And yeah, you want to do some research and do some trial and error, but sometimes you just got to jump in or else you won't do it.
Just get started.
Just get started. Just do it.
Wow. But you were already baking cookies before that? Like it was just like that was your kind of.
Yeah, I just grew up like middle school. I was homeschooled, but we still did like a co-op group to where we'd go like twice a week and have classes with other kids. And my nickname was Betty Crocker because I would always come bring like peanut butter pie or blonde brownies or cookies to class. And the teachers finally like I remember I was so sad and I was so mad at these guys because they like saw me walking up with it and they came and ran and they grabbed it and raced off and were chasing each other with it because they wanted the first piece of it. And after that,
the brownie or what was that?
Yeah, it was either the blonde brownies or it was like a peanut butter Oreo pie. Oh. And so they like took off with it. I was like, guys, it's like class is about to start. And after that, the teacher's like, you can only bring stuff once a month. You can't do this every week because people are going too crazy. I was like, this is y'all's fault. This is y'all's fault.
You created Betty Crocker.
Yeah, there you go. I'm the OG Betty Crocker.
And I was going to ask you that, like, was there ever other ideas? Like, maybe I'll make cupcakes, brownies, but cookies was just the first thing that came to mind?
Honestly, it was brownies for books.
Oh, yeah, brownies for books.
Brownies for books was the first thing because, again, that was what I was going to raise money for, or like save up money for at first was my books. Like that was the main goal. So like, oh, brownies for books is catchy. But then in the long term, I was like, but in like a year or two, I'm going to need to pay for all of my college and everything. So I was like, let's just start with cookies for college. And I'm a sucker for a cookie. And so
that covers everything.
It covers everything. Yeah.
So what do you guys think about her cookies now that you've been able to try them?
They're good.
So good.
They're so good.
Oh, thanks, guys.
The first one I tried, did you try the same one, right?
It was the espresso one.
Oh, no, but I mean, when we went to Harlingen.
Oh, yeah. It was the
s'more. The s'more one, yeah.
Oh, my God, that was good.
It's my sister's favorite.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I think after that, my favorite one is M&M.
Oh, that's her second favorite.
I'm still waiting for the cowboy one because every time I show up, they're gone already.
Gone.
Yeah, those are gone. Those go quick. Those go quick.
Cool. I love how this is like a market success story, or not even like a market success. It's just like, because I mean, you were doing this like from home, right? Like just like a. So how did you get from doing that to like all of a sudden getting to a point where you're like gonna open a store?
Yeah, it's crazy. So again, just like super blessed by the community, and they really, from honestly like Market One, it sounds so cheesy, but Market One, the sign like and the story, they just loved it. They loved every aspect. They loved that someone was working to pay for their tuition. They love the product. And looking back at my first cookies, I'm like, y'all, thank you so much for being so supportive, because it's just so funny seeing the growth of like a better product.
Were they round at least?
They were still round. But
ovals?
Yeah, they were still round, but they weren't as round or pretty or like thick.
Okay.
And
I saw that post. And they were so thin.
They were so thin because I was trying to make them so big and they would spread. So I hadn't figured out all like those little tricks and stuff like that yet. But no, so each year it just kind of kept growing, and really it really took off COVID, because that's when I started doing delivery, because while the markets were still open, they were facing some backlash for that, even though it's outdoors and everything else, and they did all the spacing. So I was like, well, sophomore year's coming up and I need to save money for school. So I started doing deliveries and then also a rotating menu, because I was like, how can I create demand or people to want to come back for more? Because at that point I had like 4 to 6 basic everyday flavors, and that's when I just really started coming up with like key lime pie or espresso or s'mores and Rocky Road, like all these different flavors, just to create demand to where it's like, okay, if I order, I can only get these flavors this week, and the next week comes around, there's more new flavors, like, oh wait, but I want to try these too. So that helped it grow. And then like beginning of like the spring of what would be junior year, I did the RGV stock show, and that just really took it off. I was so exhausted. It was probably like, it was crazy. I mean, trying to do the math now, and like for like 8, I think it's an 11 to 12 day show, and I did like 20 hours a day of working. And so like, cause you would bake all night, and then you would sleep for a few hours, then you'd go to the show, and I would sell all day because you're there from 10 to 10. And then I would bake and remake everything. And so
all over again.
Yeah, all
day.
over again.
And they were selling out.
They were selling out. So I didn't even last till 10. They were selling out by like 5, 6, 7 o'clock,
gosh.
which I'm thankful for, because then at least I got to sleep a little bit. but no, yeah, it was crazy. And each time I would bring more and they would sell, and it was just so humbling and so exciting and that's when I realized, like I talked about junior year, I realized I want to do this full time and really figure out the mission behind it. And that's because I quickly realized, like, people would walk by, but they would see the sign. They would turn back around. They'd be like, hey, what's this about? Try the cookie. Love the cookie, and then come back. So I always say that the sign and the story stops people and the product brings them back. And so that's kind of all how it's kept growing.
Well, and it has.
Yes, it has.
It really has. And, well, I guess I mentioned it earlier. I know that last year you had put a post about you, like, standing in front of a place in Harlingen.
Oh, yes.
So how's that going?
Not what I thought it would be going, honestly. But at the same time, I honestly have a piece about it. I did it all of last year. I am, surprise, surprise, a perfectionist and a little bit of an overachiever. And so if I say I'm going to do something, it kills me, like, if I have not accomplished that even before I set that goal. And so, which is also why I took the break that I'm sure we'll talk about later, is just because I had such an unhealthy relationship with goals and boundaries that I was just basically drowning in business and life and everything else like that. And so, yeah, a huge blessing with the shop. I had a friend help me find the spot, and great location. I always say landlords, but I feel like that's not the right words for it. I really don't. I think it is. I don't, right? Like the people who
what else would it be?
I don't know, but it just sounds strange. But the people who own the building and rent it out.
Building lord sounds worse.
Yeah, it does. But they've been honestly so kind and patient through it. So like, I got the place in 2023, and the first half, a little over half of the year, they were doing some renovations on their own, that they were wanting to like raise the ceilings and add in a bathroom and get all the electrical work done and the floors done. So, which was also made the whole break hard, is because it was ready-ish in August, but like literally I stopped in November, and November is when rent started. And so like right when I stepped back was when I could have stepped into like pushing myself even further. And so, and I had another great opportunity with another great podcast that I was super excited about. And I had to tell them like, hey, like, not going to happen, and haven't been able to record with them again since. And I was super bummed. It's like a lot of things that could have happened didn't. But at the same time, I'm thankful it didn't happen, because then I wouldn't have been able to take a break. And so it's going pretty good. It's their end is all done. I've been slowly saving money back up, because I was paying rent for 8 months with like not bringing in any money. So all the money I'd saved went towards rent. And then, so now I'm saving up for equipment, which I'm hoping to buy it all by the end of this month, and then get started moving things in. And hopefully, like, I would love to be in it by the end of the year, for sure, before Christmas is like the ideal goal. But at the same time, just trying to enjoy the process of getting it set up, and then just keep implementing the boundaries that I've been working so hard the last 8 months to do.
So, okay, let's talk about that a little bit, because I know the whole cookie community has been paying attention, right?
Yes,
and we've
so
been
supportive.
Yeah, we've been like wanting to know, like, or just just caring, wondering how you're doing. So tell us about that break, because we mentioned a little bit, like what was this whole break about?
Yeah, so I think I just finally had hit my breaking point. I honestly don't know how I had not hit it sooner. I think 2023 was honestly just like my rough year. Like that was my COVID year for I think everyone else. And I just don't do well with change. And there has just been a lot of change, some good, some hard. And so I just remember that September I'd started classes back, because I'd taken the previous year off because I'd had a couple surgeries and I had a concussion and I got married. And so I took that year off because I'm like, I don't want to deal with like finals during my honeymoon. It's like, that doesn't sound fun. And so I took that year off, and I was getting back into classes. I was like, man, like I'm struggling. And I've been like I struggle with math, but like reading or writing or like understanding material, thankfully, like that's something I've never struggled with. But I was like in tears because I would like read 1 or 2 sentences to try and remember to go write like a case study for like in business or my business classes, and I couldn't remember what I had read, or I would just be so overwhelmed by the work and just so emotional, and just trying to keep up with like maintaining a business and being a wife and going to school, which I had been doing prior. But I think I'd been doing it for so long that it was just nearing the burnout phase. And so the original part was I just kept saying like, oh, it's the concussion, or oh, it's my head. And I finally went back to a neurologist in the end of September, and he basically looked at me and he was like, if you don't stop now, you're going to have permanent damage. And he was like, you need to literally stop everything. I was like, oh, yeah. He's like, no. He's like, no work, no school. Like, you need to pull back from phone. You need to pull back from people. Like, you need to like do a hard stop. And he didn't have like 9 months in mind. He's like, give it a couple months and focus on nutrition and diet, because I'm sure as like other business owners know, sometimes like food is the first thing to go. Like if you're working and you're trying to hit your goals, like you're like, all right, I'm gonna have my coffee. And then it's like 7 o'clock at night and you're like, oh shoot, I've been living on coffee. Like that's not good for me.
No time for dinner.
It's weird how you forget to take care of yourself, right? Like,
yes.
Which is, I mean, if you're not taking care of yourself, how can you do anything?
Exactly.
But you just kind of, I guess, you're blinded by, you want to see the end result of whatever you're doing.
Exactly. Or I just couldn't relax enough until I was done, because I was so worried about being a little bit late or not finishing something or not getting everything done. But I basically, like, in a nutshell, like the 4 years of doing business, like I was averaging at least 100 hours of work a week on top of school. In between that, I was nannying part-time as well. And then I got married, and then I had a concussion, and then I had surgeries, and then I lost like several different people in my life as well. And so it was just like a whole roller coaster of emotions. And I think 2023, with like my grandpa passing away, and then with my friends taking his life, and then like getting back into school, it just really was like, that was my breaking point. So I was very thankful for like a husband who could support both of us. So I could, like, it was a little tight, but support both of us, and that I could take the break. And really, it just sounds so simple, but just focused on eating 3 meals a day and drinking enough water. And I went back into counseling, and then just being still. And it's really hard to be still when you're used to like going 100 miles an hour.
All these ideas in your head.
Yes,
yeah.
all those. And that was the biggest thing, is because you may stop working, but then you get in bed and then you're thinking of new flavors or a new product, or what do I have to do this week or next week? And I always, I always tell my husband, I'm like, oh, my brain is buzzing. My brain is buzzing. And lately it's like, can you focus on like deep breathing? And he'll like walk me through deep breathing to like just calm and lower like the buzzing and just the brain going crazy. So yeah, essentially it started as with like concussion based, because I was struggling with school, and I thought it was just that, but then I realized it was just way more of like several years of an unhealthy lifestyle and nearing burnout, and probably was pretty burnout, because I still enjoyed baking and looked forward to it, but it stressed me out way more than I was like whereas I'm right now getting back into, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so ready for Thursday to make the dough. Okay, I'm ready for Friday to bake. Okay,
so
I'm ready
you see the
for
contrast
market.
for sure.
Oh yeah, 100. And even my counselor, like I met with her today, and she's like, how cool is it? Because we were just talking about the cookies and boundaries and business and all that other type of stuff. She's like, how cool is it to see like you coming in December or November, December, and being like, this is where like on one side of the pendulum, I think that's the right word, she would say. And she's like, then you swung way too far this way. And she's like, now you found your like middle, like your healthy boundaries and stuff like that. And just being okay with not being perfect, if that makes sense. Like not putting the pressure of perfection.
So would you say that the break was effective? Like it
100%. It was honestly a lot longer than what I thought. I thought I could heal several years of an unhealthy habits and high stress lifestyle in 2 months, and that's not really realistic. It took me a whole month just to unwind enough to like, literally I was to the point where I just like would feel so guilty just sitting on the couch to watch a show, because I was like, I haven't done anything, or I would have dishes in the sink, or I would have something to be done, but I couldn't relax until it was done. And so that was one of my challenges, is like, just sit down. I would even be like, before I would eat my food, I would want to get all the dishes done, because then it's done and then I could relax and enjoy like to eat my food. And so, no, it's definitely helpful. It was a lot longer than what I thought. I didn't exercise as much as I wanted to, or maybe I also thought like, okay, in 2 months, I'm going to stop everything, but I'm going to get the shop done. And then I'm going to be working out and doing all this other type of stuff. None of that happened. But that's
part of it though, right? It's part of the journey.
It was part of it. And it was part of like where I just truly needed to like stop everything and just be able to like relax. And I feel like I could feel my anxiety getting a lot better. And then, yeah, it was just very helpful, very needed.
And now you're back at it?
Now I'm back at it.
When you say boundaries, and you can get into it as much as you want, like, what does that mean? Like, learning to have boundaries, like with what? Like just like knowing when to stop, you mean? Or
Yeah, that's a great question. Learning when to stop, learning when to say no to orders, because I would take last minute orders, or I guess I was like, I really want to have really good customer service and be really flexible, but I got into the point where it's too much power to the consumer, if that makes sense, to where they could make last minute changes and know that I would figure it out. But like, I'm doing everything by myself. And so where I would say yes to too many orders, and then like, granted, there's always one or two people like, hey, can I actually change this? Or can I add in this? Or can I take out this? Working too many hours was a big thing for me, as well as like, yeah, you got to work hard and grind it out, especially when you're first stopping. But to what point is like an extra dollar worth, right? And so like figuring out like what do I need to hit to be able to be sustainable and to like profit and keep going? When is it when I just start getting like, oh, another dollar, another order? And then just honestly like not putting, again, like I put just way too much pressure on myself to where if a flavor didn't like turn out, I would beat myself up for days. When like at the end of the day, people really don't care if there's not lemon blueberry cookies, because for whatever reason, those do not turn out sometimes. And even like first starting off again, like the second market I did, I was like, okay, I'm doing lemon blueberry, and they looked like freaking pancakes, and I was like flat little pancakes. I said I can't sell these or bring these to the market, but I was okay at it, and I was able to say like, hey, like these
change the name, pancake cookies.
There you go. There you go. But at this, like,
so you could accept now.
I could accept it, and I could be okay, and I wasn't worried about like what other people were thinking or saying. So a lot of the boundaries just came within myself and my thoughts and my habits and my lifestyle. So like not working through lunch and starting my day off with breakfast, even if it's just a protein shake, and not just a coffee on an empty stomach. When to say no to orders, when is giving too many options too much, and then asking for help, which I'm also not very good at. And that was a big thing, which I'm still not very good at. Don't get me wrong. I'm learning to ask and accept for help, because it's something that I struggle with, to where, not that I necessarily want to do it all, but I like the feeling of when people are like, how do you do it? Right. And it's like, oh yeah, I did that.
It's like a pride kind of thing.
It is a pride thing. It's something I've been working on, and I know like that's one of my like core struggles. And so just learning to ask for help and accept help. And one of the ladies in my church said it so perfectly, is when you don't ask people for help, you're taking away the opportunity for them to bless you. And I was like, oh, I love that, because I love when people ask me for help, and I want to help others. And so why wouldn't other people want to do the same? You know, like some people don't want to, but at the end of the day, like most people are pretty kind and want to help, especially with those that care about you and love you. But sometimes they just know you and they're waiting for you to ask. Yeah. So that was one of the other things.
That's an awesome perspective. Yeah. That's a good way to see it, actually.
Yeah. It helped me a lot. Like as soon as she said that, I was like, oh, I love that. I can ask for help a little bit more now.
Okay. Would you say that you're back now, or like where are we in terms of like
I'm like
action?
Back, but not back.
How back are you?
I'm like 75% back, which is more than what I thought. At first, again, just trying to set like super hard boundaries and like, okay, this is what I'm going to do this summer. I was like, all right, I'm only going to do 2 markets a month, and I'm not going to any markets. And then the first 2 markets went really good. And I was like, all right, you know what, June, I'm going to try and do like 3 markets and see how I feel. It went really well. And then my sister couldn't do a market. And I was like, you know what, I feel like this has been a really good mental week for me. I was like, I'm going to have to try it one day. Because that's the other thing, like, at least with my anxiety, is just like the overthinking or irrational part of it. And it just seemed so scary doing something that I've done for years, just because I hadn't gone back or done it. And it was just kind of like a check mark for one more thing. Like, okay, I baked again, check. Okay, I went to a market again, check. And like my next check mark is like hopefully doing pre-orders in July. But again, like as you said, boundaries, where like 4th of July is one of my biggest holidays, surprisingly. But instead of doing like 8 different options, it'll literally just be like chocolate chip cookies or a cookie cake, where usually I'd have like 8 different options and flavors and all that other type of stuff. So I think I'm back, but just I'm still like easing into it. Because again, I don't want to go back to where I was and just unhealthy and burnt out.
The fact that it's hard, like, not to go back to where you were, and you aren't going back to where you were, that shows a lot of like strength. Like, that's awesome. Like, you've made progress.
Yeah.
Like, congratulations for real. And you're also showing that like it's okay to take care of yourself.
Yes.
And it's like, it sounds crazy, but like a lot of the times we have to learn that. Like, we have to learn that it's okay to like eat breakfast.
Yes.
Or whatever. But you're doing it though, so congratulations, man.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a lot of growth, and too, like sometimes I struggle with like the in between of like toughing it out, and then like, you know, the whole self-love movement. Like I'm like in between where like it can get too self-lovey-dovey, but at the same time, like once it's affecting like your health or your mentality, like that should give you pause to be like, okay, what can I do to help this, and what do I need to take out of my life right now? Because a lot of it just has to do with time and how we're structuring our schedule. And we like, I feel like in general, like as a culture, we just try and pack in as much as we can.
Yeah.
But then we lose sight of the things that truly bring us joy or like fulfill us.
Yeah, no, but yeah, I mean, and especially for the kind of person that you are, you know, somebody who's always like up and at it. Like Madelynn was like a college basketball player, right? She was like you said, you went out to school where you wanted to go. Like, you always just get stuff done. So for somebody like that to be told like 0, like, it's just, there's a lot of people that are listening, like they're thinking that's like unimaginable. Like, I could never, right? But you were that person too.
Yeah, 100%.
But you did it. But you did it.
Yeah,
like,
100%. And I'm not gonna lie, like the first month, or at least for the first 2 weeks, it's gonna be really hard because you're just used to living that lifestyle. And I think like the mental game is the hardest part, to where you start telling yourself like, oh, I'm lazy, or I'm not being productive, or I'm like,
you're so used to it.
Yes, or you're not accomplishing a goal, and so then you're not like,
why am I not freaking out right now?
Yes,
right? Like,
exactly.
Why is there not like 10 things on my plate?
Yeah, exactly. So it seems like so like bizarre, but like if you're in a season or a place to where you feel that way, and like you can honestly, even if it doesn't have, like, I'm not saying do 9 months. I honestly should have come back January, February, because in the next few months were not very good mentally, just because I'd pulled back too much. And so it's kind of like a good thing, and there was a really bad thing.
But that's how we learned.
Now
though.
I'm back. Yeah.
Yeah, that's part of. It's part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, now I want to ask you, because we're talking to the cookie lady, Miss Cookies for College. The way you see things right now, what's the future looking like for Cookies for College?
Yeah, so still working on the storefront. Again, not where I thought or hoped it would be at in 2024. I thought it would have already been open, but really a big dream, big picture is still opening up in Harlingen probably soon after. Like, I would say get used to that for a year. And in that year, I would love to start being able to ship cookies and be in coffee shops. And then I would love to get a spot in the Mercado food court.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, it's just a easy transition into McAllen, and then not as much upfront cost. And so I'd bake everything out of Harlingen, and then just have someone work McAllen for me, and just be my first learning point, or my learning curve, and growing and managing 2 different spots. But yeah, I would love to, honestly, like, again, mega big dream has always been to like end up franchising it out and having multiple locations, because the more you have, the more scholarships you're able to offer. And then just, again, like, college students really have my heart, especially like as being a college athlete. It's hard to work when you're an athlete. And I mean, at the D1 level, which I was not, but like the D1 level, like there's definitely no time to work. But I feel like the D2, D3, like you can put in a few hours a day. And so just having a work environment that's flexible for like college athletes and able to help them, giving out scholarships. And then I would love to just even have like other college entrepreneurs who are the ones taking over the franchise, not just some random people wanting to make money. Like, I would love for it to be like where you bring in college or young adults who want to do this and have that same mindset and mission, and they can open up their own stores. Or even, like, as I say, even if it doesn't get that big, but even just having like a mother store. So let's say we're going up to College Station this weekend for George Strait concert. So even just saying whoop whoop. So even just saying like we have a mother store in like College Station, but then those students can go out on weekends and they can sell our cookie, like have our recipes, have our similar model, and they just go out on weekends and they're selling on weekends. So they would pay us like a fee to use that, but they would keep the rest. But then Monday through Friday, people are at our shop. So not only is it like gaining exposure for us, but it's also helping a student like kick off and get started without like all of the in cost debt or like potential debt or investment and everything else like that. But it gives them a way to get their feet in the door, go to markets, but it's not really taking away from like the mother store.
That's so cool, and that's part of the plan. Like
Yes.
we're gonna get there.
Yeah, or I hope so. I really hope so. Yeah.
I mean, you sell out all the time.
Yes, I'm
You sell
super
out
blessed.
all the time. And so the plan is also like we're gonna go to a coffee shop, and there's gonna be some cookies for college.
Yes.
Like little bags there of cookies.
Yeah, I have a
That's
friend
cool.
in Weslaco. He owns Black Brew Coffee. So any Weslaco listeners, you gotta go try his coffee. It's so great.
Black Brew.
Yep,
Okay.
Black Brew Coffee. It's one of my favorites. And he's been super patient and kind, but from the beginning, he was like, I would love to have your cookies in here. Whenever you're ready, you just let me know and I want to have your cookies in here. So they'll be the first coffee shop when our
Nice.
cookies are in there.
Okay, that's so cool, man.
Yeah.
And that's cool because it's like you're planting like your little seeds everywhere.
Yeah.
And then if you get to the point where like you're providing the business model for, like this is such a it's just crazy because we're talking like a whole like corporation, like, but the way it started is what's mind blowing.
Yeah.
You know, like how it really was like that. What you're doing is like everybody's dream, you know, but like it's actually happening.
Yeah, it's happening.
That's so weird.
It's really weird. Like sometimes, like I'll be at the grocery store and like, "Are you the cookie lady?" I was like, "Whoa, that's weird." I'm like, "Yeah, I am the cookie lady." Like, "Hi, I'm Madelynn."
Yeah.
Which I love. I love meeting different people, and sometimes it's hard because I can't remember people's names. So I've just seen so many faces, but I try to remember. But no, it is pretty crazy, and I couldn't do it without my support system either. And so like that's also really important. Like my husband, he's been through it, all of it, like boyfriend stage, fiance stage, now husband stage. So like he's seen all the cookies because we've been together we've been together 7 years in July, and my business will be 5 years in July. So he's been here since the very beginning of it. And from the beginning, he's just been probably my biggest supporter and cheerleader. He's like, "You've got this, or you can do it." And he was pushing me to get back into cookies. He's like, "I think you just need to get back into it." He's like, "You'll be happier," and you'll like all this other type of stuff. He's like, "I know you can do it." And he's so excited about the shop. I think he talks about the shop more than I do. He's like, "I can't wait till the shop is."
It's in Harlingen, right?
It's gonna be in Harlingen on Commerce and Van Buren. And so yeah, he's very supportive and super excited about that. And I've had different mentors pour into me. And so my brother and sister have helped me out a lot. And so it's been a huge blessing.
Okay, that's cool. And I asked you this last time, but I just want to ask you again, what's the cookie lady's favorite cookie flavor?
Oh, yeah.
Has it changed?
Yeah, no, it hasn't changed. I'm still pretty basic, and I love the chocolate chip cookie. Like, I crave it, and people are like, "What, you crave cookies?" I'm like, "Yes, when I'm baking, I just want a warm chocolate chip cookie and pizza. Like, that's all I want is on
hard
baking
not
days.
to like eat them?
It's so hard not to eat them. And, but yeah, I'd say chocolate chip, or I love the espresso one. I think you mentioned that.
The espresso one.
Yeah.
I'm in between. The espresso or the s'more is my top.
Oh, we tried the matcha one too, right?
Oh yeah, I did try the matcha white
That one was
chocolate.
good.
Oh,
That
yeah,
one
thank
was
you.
good.
Yeah, I hate matcha. I think it tastes like
too.
grass.
No, you know what?
That's what I
It does.
say.
I think it tastes like
He
sweet
says it
grass.
does.
Yeah, it does. It does. But we were talking about it. We're like, this tastes like good grass. Like,
Yeah.
Yes.
Good
And I think the
grass.
white chocolate just helps, but everyone
It
loves
does help
matcha
it.
right now. And so it's like, okay, I'll join this. And it's expensive. Like, good matcha powder is so expensive.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
for
it is.
3 ounces, which is like a little bitty packet, it's like $30.
Yep.
And you want the real stuff.
Yeah, I got the real stuff. And so that's also why I don't make them very often because it's expensive. But
But how do you come up with your flavors? Like, is this like do you have like brainstorm hour, or do you like make your husband like where
Number one
do
taste
the
tester.
honestly, HEB, I walk up and down the aisles. I'm like, oh, I wonder if I can turn like tiramisu into a cookie. Or I'm like, oh, okay, like or key lime pie is one of my husband's favorite recipes. I'm like, or desserts. I was like, oh, I bet I could make that into a cookie. And so, or like banana puddings, like all these different.
Yeah.
I just look and see like, okay, what's some good flavors? And I also follow other cookie influencers or cookie ladies on Instagram in my cookie community. And so I get some ideas from them, but for the most part, it's just walking around in the store. And so even today, for this week's menu, I'm doing like a spin on the espresso one, but I got upgraded because I found like the chocolate covered espresso beans. And so it's going to be it's going to be like, I call it a mocha cappuccino.
Oh my God.
And so it has like the instant espresso in it, and then has espresso flakes in it, and it has the coffee.
Are those going to be at Wild August tomorrow?
Yeah, it's going to be at Wild August tomorrow.
Can you get me some?
It's going to cut to us there eating it. Yeah.
I like how
Okay, wait. I am going to Cash App you like $20. Like, you need to FaceTime me and show me what's there, and I'm going to tell you what I want.
Well, what time? Well, yeah, the concert's on Saturday, right?
Yes, but we're leaving on Friday.
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, Allie's like addicted to coffee, so
Oh, me too. It's bad. I like realize like I'm legitimately addicted. Like I'll wake up thinking about it. I'll think about it throughout the day.
wake up thinking about
I'm like, I just want my iced vanilla latte with oat milk and cinnamon from Bandera. I'm like, that's all I want right now. And yeah.
you wake up like, oh, that means I can have coffee. I'm awake now.
Yes.
I'm at the point where I need to a day, at least.
Yeah, she gets a headache without it.
Yeah. I had gotten to that point and then I completely cut it out because caffeine was also really affecting my anxiety a lot. And so now I even do decaf, and like I can tell when sometimes I'll accidentally forget to do decaf.
Oh, you're like,
Because
yes.
because I can feel it. Well, it's not a good yes.
Oh, well, okay.
It's not like it can feel. It just makes me a little bit more
Jittery.
but not like the energy jittery. It just more like I always say my mind is
Nervous.
racing
Yeah.
or whatever.
That happened to me once when I tried the 5-hour energy. Because
Oh my gosh.
I don't drink energy drinks or anything. But
Yeah.
one time I was like, you know what? I'm tired. Let me just try this. I only drank half, and I was already like, how do people like this? Like I felt
Yeah.
ugly. Like I didn't feel good. Like you said, it wasn't like a yes energy. It was like I'm scared right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, like nervous, right?
Yeah.
I don't
And
drink
I love
caffeine
that
either.
feeling.
You do?
I love it. Like, I feel like I can do everything. I love it.
Yeah, I'm like, I need my weighted blanket in a dark room right now.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't like this feeling.
But your cookies actually have coffee, or is it just flavor? Like,
No, it has coffee in
like-
it. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
That's why they're good.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. And they sell pretty good.
I don't know. We'll see. This is the first time that I've done this one. And
I
so
need to try them.
I think it will. The espresso chip always did really good. But this one will just have like a stronger coffee flavor. And so I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
To see how it ends up doing. So we'll see how it turns out tomorrow and if it makes it to the market.
So I have a question for you. So for
All right.
everybody that's like doing these little markets or like their
Mhm.
little I know like their own little business thing.
Yeah.
How can they get to where they're gonna start opening a storefront?
Oh wow.
How did you do it? What was your advice? Besides having amazing cookies.
Thank you. Like really working on your product helps a lot. I think being patient too at the same time, because it's easy to jump into like the first opportunity that comes up. So like if I had jumped into like the first place that I looked to rent, and like in my gut I was like, oh, I don't know about this one, but I liked the idea of it and it was kind of in my budget, but it was still like double what I pay now. And so, and not as near as good of a location either. And so just, I think really figuring out your budgeting plan, and honestly, like in this point, like once you get to opening of a shop, you do want some sort of business model or like at least projection of your sales for the next few years. So, you know, like, okay, I need to sell this many embroidered caps, or I need to sell this many cups of coffee, or this many little crochet animals, because those are super trendy right now.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, I need to sell like that much stuff to be able to pay for my rent. And then it's like, okay, but then what about all my products and how much can I profit? So I think really honestly taking advantage of social media, it gains you a lot of exposure. It's a lot of work. At least I probably just stress about it and try.
Your account
like-
looks amazing though. It's
Oh,
like
thank you.
super organized, and it's like pink and white. And it's like,
Thank you. I try.
you
and
do that
so-
yourself? You don't
Yeah.
have like a manager, social
No,
media
I do
manager?
all of it. And so I think also networking is super important. So sometimes like people get so caught up in like their own business that they're not like, not everyone obviously, but they're not supporting other people. And they may be supporting as in like, oh, I'll buy from them once, but like really following them and investing your time in them. Cause I don't really buy a lot from a lot of other people, but I'll give a lot of shout outs on my stories, or I'll just go comment on their posts.
Engagement.
Or a lot of engagement, because then it's like you're really building more of a community base.
And that
to where-
helps.
Yeah, it really helps, because you really do like when it comes to like your original question. Sorry, I kind of like
No.
is just like making sure you have a really good support system, because you may think you can do it alone, but you can't, and you don't want to if you can. And then making sure like your product is ready. And then honestly, like having that really hard question with yourself, like what either A, makes my product different, B, what is someone actually going to buy my product, and C, like will someone come to a store just for my product? So for the longest time, like I was even told by like some of my mentors, like the people who are now like helping me with my building, they're like, you can't have a cookie shop. Like no one's going to come just to get cookies. So like you need to have other stuff, or you need to have coffee, and like who wants to sit and just eat a cookie? I'm like, well, you're two like grown middle-aged men. I'm like, you're not necessarily like my target audience / typical customer. I'm like, it's usually a younger demographic, lots of like younger people or moms or people with kids or like just people who love cookies. And so, but they were really concerned, and like I wouldn't advise that. Like I don't think it's gonna happen. And then they kept seeing me grow, and they're like, you need a shop. They're like, you need to get out of
the same people.
Yeah, the same people. And I was like, I remember when they were telling me that, it just made my heart so happy, because I was pitching to them my idea, and they were basically kindly like shutting that idea down. And then to come back like that next year and then be like two of my biggest cheerleaders as well, I was like, told you so. But at the same time, it was just cool to see the growth, or them realizing like, oh, there's something here.
Yeah.
And then what makes my cookies different from other people, or what really separates it, is again the mission and the story behind it. And so the fact that it's a cookie with a purpose, that you're not just buying it to enjoy it for yourself, but by buying it, you're helping someone else. Yeah. People feel better about buying it. And then just really sticking, like I still get tempted to do like the mega cookies or the super sweet ones, but then at the same time, like people feel gross after eating those. And I want you to be able to eat a cookie and feel good, and like, ooh, I want another one, but I probably shouldn't eat another one because then my stomach will hurt. I don't want it to be like the first few bites and they're just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I ate 1,000 calories in a cookie.
And it's true, because it's like, that's
yeah, I wasn't gonna say that, but yeah, it kind of is.
I'll put a beep there.
Yeah, beep. I was like, I wasn't gonna say that, but yeah, no, that's who I kind of was thinking about. But still, like, so like other people on Instagram, and they're doing great, and their cookies are gorgeous, but they're like massive, thick, so sweet, covered with so much stuff.
At work, somebody took some and they gave me one, and it's kind of like, you look at it and you're like, should I even eat this? You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like, that looks like it can kill you, but it looks amazing.
That's so nice of you that you thought about that. Like you're thinking about the customer.
Yeah.
Like you're protecting us from ourselves.
Yeah. Because
that's what you're doing.
I love that. And I love cookies and I love sweets, and I like to feel good after I eat it, because I have a big sweet tooth, even though I'm around sugar all the time. But yeah, I don't want people to feel gross or like like a cookie's not healthy, let's be honest. But I don't want you to feel like sick after eating it, or it be packed full of like way too much sugar. And just stick to that homemade style, because you just can't beat like a homemade cookie. And I really try and stick to that homemade
There's a difference.
and
then
feel
also,
and taste.
Like getting a cookie from you, we know that you know exactly what you put in your cookies.
Exactly. And you can find like, and everything is like usually in most people's pantries. And that's the other thing. Like there's no extra preservatives or additives, like all that other type of stuff. It's just your basic.
Not from a science lab.
Yeah, no, nothing in science lab. Like anything you can read, like you can pronounce everything in the cookies, and which is also important to me, like even when scaling. And so that's why
that's awesome.
That's really important to me.
That's going to get you a lot further, just knowing that like the safety or like the sense of like, oh, she cares enough to like what I'm putting in my body.
Yeah.
Like that's going to get you places.
I hope so.
And now you're kind of like getting into healthier options too, right?
Yes. Yeah, I've been playing around with it, because just in my own, I've been having some demand for like the gluten-free. But then I would make them and no one would really get them. They're like, yeah, we just want the regular. I'm like, y'all, I'm trying to help y'all out here. Yeah, I made this for you. I spent so much money on gluten-free flour and finding good like flour, because it's all so different too.
Oh, yeah.
And just because it's gluten-free doesn't mean it's healthy either. And like looking like, okay, what are they putting into the flour? What is the flour made out of?
That's so nice that you look into that though.
Yeah. And I'm like, I love health and I love nutrition. And so
Cookies for college.
And so, Yeah, I've been playing around with that and dairy free as well. I can't jump on the vegan thing just because I really can't figure out a cookie without eggs.
Yeah.
I really can't. Other people have done it and they're great. Like Sweet Craft Vegan in Brownsville, they have great cookies, and so does, I think it's Veganella or something like that. Her cake is insane, but she also has really good cookies as well. I'm like, what do y'all use that's not eggs?
Yeah.
But no, I've been going more towards like trying out some gluten-free and dairy-free just so it can reach more people, because I've been doing less dairy myself because it's like makes my face break out or my stomach hurt a little bit. Well, let's be honest, if it just made my stomach hurt, I would still eat it, but it's not worth the pimple. Like sometimes a Dairy Queen Blizzard is worth the pimples, but like other than that, I'm like, it's not worth it. That's cool. So just, I know how excited I get when I find like a dessert that I can eat that's dairy free, and I was like, oh, I want other people to be able to like eat it and be excited about it,
and for it to be good.
Yes, and for it to be good.
That's a challenge.
That's like where I probably do the most trial and testing with baking ingredients. And again, because just because it's gluten free or dairy free does not mean it's healthy, and like sometimes those products I feel like can even be worse for you, and so you really have to check the ingredients on that and the processing behind it, because you don't want to make just because it's in their diet or they have sensitivities to it doesn't mean you want to give them something that's worse.
Yeah, so it can get worse because now you're like trading like something real with like artificial stuff.
Yes, exactly.
To try to like that's like less healthy at the end of the day. We've talked about that.
Yeah,
but that's cool. Like that's cool that you take that into consideration. And that's gonna, so when you open a store, like you'll have like, I guess like something for everybody then, right? At that point.
Yeah, I hope so. I'm still trying to think about being like strictly having gluten-free options. It'll probably be more what's called gluten-friendly.
Yeah.
And so that means that it's not like it's in its own bowl or it's in its own pan, but it's baked in the same oven as other cookies with gluten in it. And so if someone has an extreme gluten allergy, like even the particles that are like the flour or whatever that's floating around in there, that can cause people to have a reaction. And so it's more gluten friendly where there's no gluten in the product, or like it wasn't at the same bowl that was just used, but it's in the same oven. And so I really hope to do that where it's gluten free and then dairy free as well. And so maybe I'll get to vegan, but hopefully gluten free, dairy free, and then your good old regular chocolate chip cookies.
And that's your favorite.
Yeah, it's my favorite.
That's cool, man. So I have a question for you.
Right.
This is something, I think we asked you this at the end of our episode last time, but again, we didn't. We did, but we didn't.
You'll see the last episode.
Maybe. But tell us one thing that Cookies for College has taught you.
Oh, wow. I don't think you asked me that last time. That's a good question.
Oh, no, I asked you what you love about the Valley.
Oh, yeah, I think you did like that.
Because that was the question for season 1.
Yeah, there you go.
But now the cookie community is wondering
what is something,
what it's taught you. And I didn't prepare her for this question. So
yeah, no, I'm like, oh my goodness, it's so many things. I think I'm a 3-word person. I guess it's my Baptist roots. And so like the 3 points in the sermon. But I think perseverance, patience, and then community. And so persevering through when it's hard, but at the same time being patient with yourself and realizing your own limitations, and then knowing you can't do it without community and a support system. Whether that's your immediate community, like your family and your close friends who are cheering you on and helping you package cookies at 1 or 2 a.m. in the morning, or bringing you a coffee at a market because I know you've been up all night. Yeah, I have some great friends. Nice. And so I actually even have like customers who will sometimes do that. Like they'll know, like they would have seen my stories and they'll Venmo me and like get a coffee tomorrow.
Wow.
And it's so sweet. And so like, I was like, oh my gosh, I love y'all even more.
That's community there.
Yeah, it's community right there. And then too, like if people don't buy your cookies, you can't keep going. And so the importance of engaging and having a relationship with my cookie community, as I call it, and just the Valley in general, is just really important to me. And again, like I couldn't be here without them, anyone in my community. So
wow, that's beautiful. And yeah, and like that's like an ongoing lesson, right? Like it just teaches you, it's like giving back to you.
Yes.
The whole Cookies for, and I feel happy that you didn't do brownies for books, because I don't know, I like Cookies for College better.
I do too.
It doesn't roll off the tongue as well.
It doesn't roll off the tongue as well. Yeah, Cookies for College. It's really catchy. So I'm really excited to see where it goes. I'm very hopeful. And then again, just through all this, trying to just be patient with it. And just remember, I'm 24. Sometimes I'm like, I'm almost 30. And I'm like, all right, I got 6 years. Like, that's still like a whole, like, look at what I've accomplished. Like, I still have yet to do a full year of cookies because I've been in and out of school or like concussion or surgery or wedding or whatever it may be in life, like different seasons.
Yeah.
And so just the excitement of seeing like what can happen in like 12 months of cookies. Like the most I've done, I think, is like 9 months. And that was only 1 year. But I average only like 6 to 7 months actually baking and selling and being present just because of school. And I was up in East Texas for that. So yeah, it's pretty exciting to see like, all right, what can happen in the next few years? Who knows?
Any questions for the cookie lady?
Do you have any new flavors in mind?
Oh, do I have any new flavors in mind?
Wait, I want to throw you my flavor.
Okay.
You had posted once about like a cookie cupcake, cookie cake.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I commented the mocha cheesecake. So
oh yeah,
I'm still.
He's like throwing that out there.
Yeah,
you're like throwing that out there.
hint, hint.
I love that mocha cheesecake. That'd be good.
So
And
speaking of cheesecake, okay.
She was like, forget.
Speaking
You're
of
like,
forget
forget my
cookies.
question, yeah.
Forget
Speaking
cookies.
of cheesecake, okay.
Sorry.
So if you ever find a way to get cheesecake into a cookie,
Okay.
I forgot what the flavor was. We went to Barnes and Noble and there was this cheesecake there that was just like amazing.
All right.
It was a cheesecake and I want to say mango.
Huh.
And it was so good.
All right.
But
cheesecake
just-
and mango.
Or just finding some kind of way to put cheesecake into a cookie.
I've kind of done like a strawberry cheesecake, but it's just to where it's more like a sweet cream cheese type of mixture that's in it or stuffed, and it doesn't always. Sometimes it would do good, and sometimes it wouldn't.
It's hard, right? Like,
It is. It's really tricky, like with
to get it consistent.
Yeah, the consistency of it. And then I think you asked like any new flavor ideas.
Mm-hmm.
I've had some, but like this week, like 2 new ones were now I'm just blanking. My 2 new ones this week were the mocha cappuccino because that's where I did it a little bit different, and then I did a cookies and cream cookie this week.
You had a cowboy one, right? Something cowboy.
Well, that's the
Yeah,
popular
the
one.
ultimate
Yeah, that's the
cowboy.
popular
That's the popular one.
What's it called?
The ultimate cowboy.
Oh,
And I
there we
did that
go.
one for the rodeo. And who would have thought, like when I did RGVLS, I'm like, who would have thought that would become such a fan favorite? But people go crazy over it.
Is that one going to be at Wild August too tomorrow?
No.
That's okay because I'm looking forward to the.
But that's good because that makes people want.
Exactly.
exactly.
It keeps us on our toes, right?
Exactly.
Like, yeah.
But yeah, other than that, like off the top of my head, I don't think I really have like any crazy new exciting ones. I mean, I'm not sure if this comes out next week or a couple weeks or whatever, but at the end of or middle of June, so like in a couple weeks from now, I'm gonna bring back the peach cobbler cookies, and
That
so
I'm
I'm going up
excited
to
for.
Fredericksburg
Yeah.
this weekend, and so I guess it's the 21st and the 22nd. I'll have the peach cobbler cookies again, which are
Nice.
pretty popular.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have one last question for
Okay.
you. Do you have merch?
Do I have merch? I do have merch. Yeah, I have tote bags and I have t-shirts, and then I also have candles. And so I'm so obsessed with them. Again, talking about networking, I had a really cool opportunity to a fun thing. I've actually never shared this on Instagram either, I don't think. But I sent cookies to Jamaica on a mission trip. And so Cookies for College is also international. But no,
That's so cool.
a girl named Maya, she put on her story and she was like, hey, I'm looking for local businesses who would love to go. We're going to minister. I think it was about 40 women. And I just lost where they went. Jamaica? Yeah, thank you. I was like, I thought that's what it was. I was like, question. But they went to Jamaica and I was like, all right. I was like, can I figure out how to do this? Never shipped cookies before. I bought a heat sealer. I got them all bundled up. I overnighted them to her. It was super expensive. But I was so excited. I was like, how cool is like these people like get to 1, try my cookies, and then 2, like they're going on a mission trip. And so through that, there was a girl who had done like mini candles. And I was like, hey, can you do custom scents? And she said, yeah, let me see it. And I said, I would love a Mexican vanilla because I was like, it's different than vanilla. My Mexican vanilla is superior. It is so good. I was like, it's a little bit like more of a brown sugar, sweeter scent to it, I feel like, while like regular vanilla has more of an alcoholic type of scent or like a more chemically
That's true.
scent to it. And so I wanted a Mexican vanilla, a cookie dough one, and then snickerdoodle candles. And so she had made candles for me. And then Clays by Jessica, she made little cookie earring studs for me.
Oh,
and
that's
so,
cool.
Yeah, they're super cute. I don't think I had those at Jackson Street. I can't remember. But yeah, so I have t-shirts and totes, candles, and cookie earrings. And hopefully cookie caps one day.
Oh.
Cookie cap. That's
Cookie
cool.
caps.
I like how everything you do has a story to it. Like, yeah, I sent some cookies to Jamaica, and now I have candles.
Yeah,
Like,
it's crazy.
That's so cool.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that's part of like your journey, right? Like
It
you're gonna have
is.
to write a book about this. Like,
I've honestly thought about that. I'm like, that'd be so cool one day to like write a book about this.
cookie entrepreneur. Right?
There you
Like,
go. Or
that's
just
so cool.
college student doing cookies. Or
Talking about
cookies
your
for
mother's
college.
story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it gonna be in College Station? Or that was
What?
just an example?
Oh, that was just an example.
okay,
But that's one of the
okay.
first one. Like that's one of the first ones that I'll probably branch. My first one will probably be.
Because it's college students, right? Like,
Yeah, but it'll probably be my first one I'll hope to do back in Longview just because that's where I went to school. And so just to open it up there and work with the school and get that going. But then I know a lot of people at A&M and UTSA and UT. And so probably those will probably be like a few of my first ideal locations just again because I want to be near campuses because with the whole scholarship program, I want to work directly with the schools because sometimes when you're trying to get a scholarship, you're like, okay, well, do I just get the money or do I have to wait to transfer it to the college? Like, how does that work? And so that way when people go on, like, we'll just say A&M, for example, on their website, they'll click scholarships that they can apply for and Cookies for College will be there and they can apply for it.
Cool.
And if they're accepted, then that just comes straight out of their account, like each
Okay.
year, like when you know, like, see it
yeah,
taken
yeah.
away. So it's a little bit easier process.
You have it all planned out. This is cool because like I don't even want to say one day because that sounds distant, but like we're talking about this right now. One day you're going to be listening to like you talking about your plans, but like you're going to be at a point when you're doing it already.
I know.
I can't wait for that day to come.
That'd be so great. I love the confidence. I love the confidence.
Yeah, like
But
that's
it'll
gonna
be-
happen. Like you know what I mean? Like one day you're gonna be in your car listening to this, like, oh man, that's when I was talking about it. And now I'm on my way
Exactly.
to like
Or just my
Longview.
first podcast. I'm like, who knows? Maybe I'll be on another podcast. And like, but y'all will be my first podcast.
Yay.
Thank you. And
Yeah.
we're gonna have her back too, guys. We have to have Madelynn.
Yeah, you need to be a
back, like-
regular on here.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Well, maybe
Eventually-
after I open up the shop, we'll bring Zeke, my husband, and the Cookie
Yeah,
King.
yeah.
And
Eventually
we'll have the
you.
Cookie King and Cookie Queen
At some
in
point.
y'all's studio.
Yes. Oh.
See, in y'all's studio.
Nice. She's throwing it back at us now. Okay. I was gonna say, well, but like I gotta.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we'll have
okay.
your cookies there for when the guests come.
Exact. I know. I was honestly hoping today because I made the dough today, but I just ran out of time.
He was
And I
asking-
was hoping to like bring cookies for y'all. And I was so excited. I was like, I do not have a ton of time because I made dinner beforehand, so that way when we get home we can just
Could've
eat
brought that
already.
too.
I know.
Just
It's
kidding.
just spaghetti. It's nothing fancy. But yeah, no, I was like, oh, I want to bring cookies for them, and I just ran out of time. Again, boundaries. I didn't
Yeah.
kill myself
Mhm.
over it, and I
That's
was like,
true.
it's okay. And I was like, I'm just gonna go straighten my hair and
I
get
love
in
that.
the car.
I love that you're implementing it though. So
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
good. You're being good to yourself.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, we're gonna let Miss Madelynn go.
And it sucks because it feels like we can keep talking forever. Like,
I don't
Yeah.
feel like it went by so
right?
fast.
Like, how long has it been? Like 30 minutes?
And we know what we didn't get to talk about. In our first episode, we talked a little bit about how Madelynn has done a lot of like just literally like donating a bunch of cookies.
Oh yeah.
So, and I wanted
Mini-
to put that at some put that.
They'll
there at
still
some
watch
point.
it in the bonus.
Yeah.
I mean, in the lost episode.
So-
That's what I thought too. I'm like, okay. You
I
have
wanted to ask
mention
about
the whole-
HEB.
Yeah, like
Okay, it's actually so cool that you asked that because last market, and I got like chills. Like this lady came up for me, and she's like, "I was one of the ladies you gave cookies to at HEB," and I just thought it was
no
so cool.
way.
Yeah, she's like, "I haven't had your cookies since then." And she's like, "But someone she knew had followed and reposted or shared," which again, little social media plug, like. We preach it all the time, but that's why a like, a comment, and share is like so important, and it's free and it's easy. But she saw it and she's like, I was so excited because I've never tried like your regular cookies, but I remember you from HEB and you gave us cookies. And I was like, how cool. And they were asking me about it and laughing because they didn't realize I gave it to all 3 locations in Harlingen. They thought it was just their
Wow.
location. And so, yeah.
Yeah, because one time Madelynn like just wanted to do like a not even a giveaway.
one
She
night.
just
It was a
wanted to-
give back. Yeah.
Yeah, a gift back to like the frontline workers. But you did it all by yourself, right? You were saying like your thumbs
Yes.
were like
Yes, no, my
sore.
hands were like so. It was, I mean, and after that, I didn't decorate any more cookies because I blew out my wrist basically. Because, yeah, within 4 days, I was telling them too. Because it was buy a dozen and then I would give a dozen. And so that way, again, like getting the whole community involved, be like, look what
Yeah.
y'all did. Like, this isn't just me. Like,
Yeah.
y'all made this a possibility to like for me to be able to bake this and give to like all these people. And so within 4 days, I baked, packaged, decorated, and delivered over like 2,000 cookies.
By yourself?
By myself, yeah. So my husband, or I guess he's my boyfriend at the time. I think he was my boyfriend at the time.
My friend at the
time. Boyfriend at the time before he upgraded. No, I think he was down that week, or he had already moved down. I really can't remember. All the years blend together. And so he was helping me package. But yeah, no, my sister, she came to start for a little bit. She's like, I can't. It smells like sugar in here. She's like, I don't like that there's red like frosting all over me. She's like, peace out. I don't know how you're doing this. Love you. I'll get you a coffee. And my brother brought me donuts, I think, for breakfast. He's like, here's some breakfast. And he dropped me off some donuts. But no, basically, like, yeah, that it was just me.
And she's done it like for the hospital. Like it was not a one-time thing.
No, yeah, it started with the nurses during the pandemic, and then I need to do another one. I'm glad you said that because I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't done one this year yet. It started with the nurses in the pandemic, and then when the police officers were getting a lot of backlash, I gave to the police officers that fall.
Cookies for cops.
Yep, cookies for cops. And then and then I did HEB. And I think I did one for teachers. Yeah, I did one for teachers. And so people could vote for whatever school, and whoever had the most votes, I'd go give cookies to all of them. And I think that was my last one. And so I need to do another one. So if anyone has any ideas for who to give back to next, you can message me on Instagram.
At Cookies for College.
Yep, at Cookies for College.
Oh, yeah, 4.
Yep,
right?
the number 4.
C.
Yeah,
C4C. Yep.
All right. Well, again, like I said, this is not the last time you're going to be here.
Yeah.
At some point, we're just going to have you on, like, not even to talk about cookies. Like, so what do you think about, like, roast beef?
This is perfect for a hangout episode, honestly.
Yeah. We'll probably end up having to do that. And we can't wait for that store to open because we're going to be there, like,
I'm going to be there, like, every weekend.
I'm so excited. I have so many great ideas.
You should camp out just so you can post on your story like, look, we even have people camping out.
I know.
Yeah, I know. No, not gonna lie, for the grand opening, I was like, can I like bribe my brother and my sister and like some people to like camp out and be like, look, we have people camping out. Make sure you get here in line.
You don't have to bribe us. We'll gladly do it.
Yeah,
I love it. But yeah, no, the grand opening is gonna be fun. I already have all these different ideas.
We're there.
I love it. Yeah, I'm super excited.
Yeah, well, thanks for being here a second time.
Yeah, thanks for having me back.
Yeah, I guess you guys are gonna see the last episode is what it sounds like. So it's not gonna be the best.
It's
quality.
just a straight up shot of Madelynn, just because we only had one camera.
Yeah. So,
how funny!
Yeah,
so it was just like you the whole time.
How funny!
But so I guess you guys are gonna be just wait for that. But anyway, so thank you for being here with us. Honestly, like I don't know what it is, but I mean, you're like one of the best guests we've ever had.
Oh, thank y'all.
And not even just like podcast guests, just. I don't know, you're an amazing person. So,
thank you.
So thanks for
I enjoy
being
hanging
back.
out with y'all too. It's fun. Y'all make it easy. I remember my first time I was so nervous. I'm like, wait, these people are so nice. It's easy. And even today I knocked on the door and I heard you squeal, she's here. I was like, oh, I feel so special. I'm so excited to catch up with them. And I've met y'all and hung out with y'all once for an hour. And so, it goes to
I know. It's so weird.
We've been looking forward to this.
Yeah, I was like, even when I came and like chilled on y'all's couch, I was like, man, I feel like I've been here. I was like, well, it's been once. I was like, I haven't even hung out with them, but it's just so easy and fun.
So
natural.
And that's the spirit of Cookies for College.
There you go.
So well, thanks for this again, honestly, for all. So you guys have a good week. Have a good day. Say no to drugs and
say yes
have
to
a
cookies.
cookie. Say yes. Say no to drugs.
Say yes to cookies.
Try the chocolate chip. Right. Later, guys.